Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here. I appreciated your comments about E15. We love that access to that market, and our farmers need that help. Of course, you talked about it is a tough time for the farm economy right now, and it is under real strain. And I'm going to hit on those input prices. Fertilizer prices obviously continue to be top of mind for our farmers in Iowa, and many of the concerns that I'm hearing from my folks back home are about consolidation in the fertilizer industry. A few companies are dominating the market, and then of course we see someone like Mosaic say, hey, we're going to idle these facilities at a time when our farmers are paying through the roof for these input prices, and I just don't think that's right. So we know this isn't a problem that happened overnight. You acknowledged that in your opening statement as well, and I think we do, though, need to take some quick action here to make sure we're improving price transparency around fertilizer in those markets. And so I'm grateful for your collaboration at USDA with the Justice Department to hold these folks accountable, and I know it continues to be a top priority for you. So can you talk more about your efforts to promote competition and transparency for fertilizer?
Yeah, and fertilizer is the current crisis of the day, but as soon as we're past this one, then it will be seed, or then it will be equipment. It is an overarching economic pending disaster, what has happened with these cost of inputs. And of course, if you look at the data, what has happened is you have a handful of companies that have basically taken over the market in all of the inputs. And so what comes with that is the fact that we don't have competition. And that's what we've got to really solve for. I think that it's really important to note that as the fertilizer has gone way up, it will come back down. The administration's looking short term. We waived the Jones Act. We've opened up lines from Venezuela. Lee Zeldin has waived some DEF requirements, the diesel, which will help. We're making some short-term steps in that, but really it's a long-term question that we have to be able to answer. Our Commerce Department, just yesterday, Howard Lutnick and Jamison Greer and I, alongside Kevin Hassett of the White House, sat down in my office at USDA for an hour and a half with 4 of our top fertilizer companies. 2 of them are international or foreign. They flew in from all over the world to sit down with us and really talk this through. We've got to invest in more infrastructure. We've got to reshore fertilizer back to America. The good news is, and Secretary Lutnick has mentioned this over and over, we have a pot of funding through the tariffs and through the trade renegotiations of tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars that we're planning. I can't announce anything just yet, but hopefully next week we're going to start deploying some of those resources to begin to build. And they won't come online for 12 to 18 months, but we've got to start moving back in that direction. I also want to honor and elevate a company, an American company, CF Fertilizer, that has said we are going to put off all any sort of maintenance so that we can keep our prices as low as possible for our American farmers. I'm on the phone daily with other fertilizer companies from around the country. USDA has identified some funding to begin investing to move some more fertilizer, moving out more quickly. So we are on it, but I don't want to overpromise. These prices will not come down anytime in the next couple of days or weeks. Maybe take us a couple months to get them back down, but we're working on it.
And we have a piece of legislation that would force some transparency in this space.
That's right, which
the
is very important.
bill that's bicameral bipartisan Fertilizer Price Transparency Act, so we can get those numbers out weekly. It's sometimes a little sunshine is the best medicine, but we do need to be making those domestic investments. And really quickly, in the time that I have left, you already touched on a little bit with FSA offices and how important those are to our farmers on the ground. And I think we need to make sure that as we are looking at a very, very tough budget year, that we're not cutting back on those services to our farmers. So can you walk us through your envision to make sure that adequate staffing is there on the ground at the FSA offices?
Yeah, I think of all the things we do, I'm not sure that there's anything more important than making sure that we have an on-the-ground team that can do everything they can to help these farmers move the funding through they need to access the programs that they need. I myself have visited multiple of FSA offices, our Undersecretary Richard Fordyce, our Director Bill Beam. I do monthly Zooms with every one of our FSA chiefs in all 50 states. We are working so hard, understanding, there are some questions on this particular budget, but we are working so hard to make sure that we are able to turn this around quickly, and we are doing everything that we possibly can to support them. And with some anecdotal evidence, there obviously are offices that are not fully staffed or able to get back to a farmer within an hour or 2 hours, which is my goal, not days. But we actually have made progress on that, and the wait times are less, the turnaround is less. And of course, moving to this one farmer, one file has been a game changer as well.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I yield back.